This is what 15 inches of rain in just a couple of hours did to Galilee Road. There's a small creek, doesn't even have a name to it, that runs under the road. Monday night, it became a raging river. We wanted to give you a shot of that police presence out here. They are following behind protesters. It's also led to changes at the detention center. Fewer inmates means more social distancing. So while they used to house 125 inmates, they're now down to just 85. That is what the director of this 911 call center here in Durham is telling me, Angela. It is located on the top level of the new police headquarters. So what's behind the discrepancy? The state changed the guidelines, moving first responders like the Franklin County Sheriff's Office down on the list. Some health departments, though, allowed them to keep their appointments. City leaders are coming to the defense of the 911 call center here behind us and its director, but the confusion and frustration in the radio traffic from those two 911 calls is clear.
Did you get an apartment number yet? I'm working on it. It came from Raleigh.
The call came in the day after Christmas. Durham first responders dispatched to a person asking for medical help.
We'll circle the complex again and wait until we can hear back.
They're left hoping someone might come out and flag them down.
Tried that caller multiple times and it rings and goes to voicemail.
Then there's a call that came in December 11th.
Do you have a better location for the patient? This call came from Raleigh and they gave us the address of.
Last month, Durham's 911 call center experienced a COVID outbreak, and to help, Raleigh Center started answering some of their calls. That remains the case.
We're walking around the building right now to see if we see anything.
The Durham Firefighters Association and its police association tell me it's a problem that they receive wrong addresses or incomplete information, and that it's leading to delays in their response times. I took those concerns to the mayor.
What would your message be to those firefighters and police officers?
I would like to know first the extent of which is happening. I mean, if it's happening a lot, it's a big problem. I haven't heard that.
The city says only 11% of all calls coming into Durham are answered in Raleigh, and they tell me it hasn't impacted response times.
Our 911 service is done very well.
I played one of their calls for City Councilman Mark Anthony Middleton.
It's incredibly impressive to hear professionals so committed to saving lives that even with spotty information, they are banging their heads against the wall figuratively to find out if anyone needs help.
Now, I've reached out to the city and county trying to verify that, in fact, the response times have not changed since Raleigh started taking some of Durham's calls. I haven't heard back. I will keep you posted when I do. Durham, the city could not tell me tonight how much longer they would require Raleigh's help. Live in Durham, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News. And there is a federal program that's responsible for vaccinating most of these long-term care facilities, but we've learned that Wake County is responsible for vaccinating about 200 of these centers, and the process presents its challenges. Administering the shot takes just seconds, but getting here, being in that chair, is a much longer process.
Long-term care facilities were placed in Group 1 because what we know is that these were the areas that were hit the hardest.
Ryan Jury is the mass vaccine branch director for the Wake County Health Department. He tells me they're now working to vaccinate residents at 214 of those long-term care facilities. In all, those centers have about 1,300 beds. Jury says they've reached out to the 124 different organizations that run them and have made contact with 73 of them.
We've tried, extensively to reach them via multiple mediums.
So what happened to that federal program where CVS and Walgreens were stepping in to help vaccinate these homes? Jury tells me the centers have had to sign up, and some didn't. The state sending the list of those that hadn't to county health departments back in December, asking them to help out.
It has put a lot of responsibility on the county. Of course, we have gotten precious little vaccine.
How many of these facilities have you been able to vaccinate so far?
I think as of Sunday night, we've been able to go to 37 different locations.
And it's not as simple as putting shots in arms. Some of those in these facilities can't consent to the vaccine. Next of kin have to be contacted. And when those folks can't make it to the health department,
we are making special trips out to these long-term care facilities. Wake County has developed strike teams, and we're deploying them to these facilities.
Now, the Wake County Health Department telling me that it plans to use the additional vaccine that it receives this week to focus on these long-term care facilities. It's hoping to have the process wrapped up in the next week or so. Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News. Those new roommates are adjusting. It's, of course, a very big change. They're used to having their own space. Still, they're making it work.
Just sit here all day and edit vocals.
In my heart, I know I'll be okay.
Over the last 16 years, Tremaine Williams has worked hard, living in L.A., building a successful career in the music industry.
I've worked with Jill Scott, 50 Cent, Janet Jackson, Shaka Khan, everybody.
After 10 years as a producer, he received an offer he couldn't pass up, touring with Mariah Carey.
I was like, you're going to pay me to see the world? Absolutely. I'll do it. And I always kept my studio stuff on the side just in case.
That side hustle became especially important in March when Williams learned his job stage managing would be coming to an end for who knows how long, another casualty of COVID-19.
We were in Las Vegas finishing up Mariah's residency, and we got the word that, like, in the next week or two, everything just shut down.
So you moved back in with your mom.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Yeah.
What's that been like?
It's an adjustment.
Fortunately, his new roommate doesn't seem to mind his strange hours and all the noise, or the fact that his studio is her dining room table.
This is now my world-class workspace where we get records done.
Comes my heart.
And he tells me people have been calling, even a couple while we were there.
The artists can't afford to pay you what they were going to pay you, or they just can't afford to pay you because they're trying to figure out how to make it work.
Williams charging up to 40% less. He calls it the COVID discount. While he says he's still adjusting to this new life, being back in Raleigh hasn't been too bad.
It's growing on me, definitely.
Now, Williams is having a house built here, complete with his own music studio. It was supposed to be done this month, but that work has been pushed back to next month. So that just means more bonding time, right? Live in Raleigh, Amy Cutler, CBS 17 News.